Hi everyone. So today I'm going to go through one of my favorite topics, and this is something which destroys relationships, marriages, especially in the day and age that we live in today. And it is the topic of masculine energy and feminine energy. Now, I have in front of me a list which I've written with 60 traits, 60 signs, you could say. 15 of them are natural masculinity, 15 of them are natural femininity, 15 of them are toxic masculinity, the opposite extreme, and 15 of them are toxic femininity. When you know the two extremes, the positive and the negative, then you get the bigger picture of something. If you don't know the two extremes, then it's very hard to know what is good and what is bad. Because let's say, how can I know something is good if I don't know what's bad? So let's say I don't drink, I don't know, alcohol. How can I know that's alcohol if I don't know it's alcohol? I need to know this is alcohol and I can stay away from it. Or I need to know that this is drugs, then I can stay away from it. So you need to know what's bad in order to keep away. Okay. And similarly, you need to know what's good and right in order to do. So in the same way, we need to know what these lists are. And if you want the list, then just DM me and I will send it to you, the list of the five each. Without further ado, the last thing I just want to say is that it applies to both men and women. So I'm going to say they rather than he, she, because at different times, women need masculine energy and men need feminine energy. They need them both, and you've got to embrace these things. Okay, great. So the first one, 5 natural masculine energies. The first one is that they want to protect. Okay. The first of the natural feminine energy is that they want to be protected. Okay, want to be protected. So now look at that. Everyone wants to be protected, not just women. Men want to be protected too. Why do we have houses? Why do we have food and shelter ahead of time? We've got protection for us ahead of time that, okay, I've got something to eat tomorrow and tomorrow. So we all want to be protected. No one wants to be in danger. Okay. So that's feminine energy state, to want to be protected, and the masculine is to protect. The second one, masculine, natural masculine, has self-control. So if you've got self-control, this is a great sign that you've got masculine energy. And we'll talk about the opposite later. So the natural feminine energy is free flowing. Okay. Second one is that they're free flowing. What does free flowing mean? Free flowing means that you're going with the flow. You don't always have to be super decisive, like it's got to be this, then this, then this, then this, and everything's planned ahead of time. Sometimes your energy state is telling you, today I need to be spontaneous, I need to be free flowing, and that's okay. You can't be like that all the time, but there are times where you need to be like that and you feel it. So the natural feminine energy state is to be free flowing, that you accept things beyond your control, which is a great thing to have. Okay, so the third one for the masculine energy is decisive, whilst listening. Okay, so this person, they make decisions, but they listen to everyone first. They listen. They don't just say, do this, do this, do this. They listen more and then they decide. Informed decisions. The third natural feminine energy state is intuitive. Okay, what does that mean? Intuitive means that they're aware of what's going on inside, in their mind, in their feelings, heart, and so on. They're in tune with themselves. Okay, they're not always focused on everyone else. They're aware of their own world, internal world. The fourth masculine energy state is a leader by example. So what does that mean? It means that I take the hardest role and I give everyone else the easier roles. So that's a wonderful thing, because now everyone will follow without even questioning, because they'll think, well, he took the hardest role. Mine's not that hard compared. So they feel inspired by you, and that's why they follow you. And you don't say, this is the hardest role, I'm going to take it. You just say, oh, I'll take that one. And then they're like, oh, wow. So that's leading by example. The natural feminine energy is an obedient follower. Now, on this one, I must say, being obedient is not easy. Many people think when they hear the word obedient, oh, that's oppressive. No, being obedient is hard. Being a follower is hard. Sometimes being a follower is harder than being a leader. So to follow and to obey requires a feminine energy. It requires a lot of strength to do it. And so there's greatness in there. There's not weakness in there. Okay. So the last one for the masculine, natural masculine, is focused on improving selflessly. So what does that mean? It means that I'm trying to improve myself on a daily basis. My only competition is me versus me yesterday. That is it. I'm not competing with anyone else. I'm competing with me. Okay, you might do outward competitions like martial arts and all sorts, but you're really competing with yourself in your own mind. I'm just trying to get better 1% every day. The last one for the feminine is wild and creative. What does that mean? Wild and creative means that there's an element of a person that is enters a creative state. You hear it from people quite often that, oh, my mind isn't creative right now. I need to do something to be creative. You need to go in nature and go outside. You can't be sat on a desk on a chair all day to be in a creative state. You've got to go outside. So when you're creative, you're a little wild. Now, why? Because when you're wild, you think differently, you see things differently, you feel different things, and as a result, different ideas come, and that's where creativity comes. You have to be doing things different than you normally do, and that's when ideas come that don't normally come. Okay, that's a feminine energy creative state, whereas in the masculine energy, it's very sharp, focused. We're fully focused on where we're going. Not time for ideas now, not time for execution. So those are the 5. So I'm going to summarize them. The 5 masculine ones: wants to protect, has self-control, is decisive whilst listening, is a leader by example, and is focused on improving selflessly. Selflessly means improving himself, herself, as well as for everybody else as well, not at their expense. Natural feminine energy, the 5, wants to be protected, is free-flowing, accepts beyond their control, and is intuitive, is an obedient follower, and is wild and creative. Those are the 5. Now let's go through the fun side, the toxic side. The toxic side is what we do see quite a lot in the world. People getting confused and clashing are quite a lot. So the first one of the toxic masculine energy is wants to control. Okay, this is why the word masculinity is seen as a bad thing, because they automatically associate it with controlling, and it's not. So the negative side, of course, is controlling. And so if you're controlling, then just imagine you're using your deciding power to control others. That isn't now a good energy state. That's a negative. You're using a good thing in a bad way. It's like using a knife. You can use it to cut fruit. You can use it to hurt someone. The good thing's being used in a bad way. So controlling someone. The toxic feminine doesn't want to be protected. So everyone really wants to be protected, but when people say, oh, I'm independent, I don't need anyone, it's not really true, because we're all connected to everyone in this world somehow or another. Somebody built this house, somebody made this light, somebody made this computer, somebody's sending electricity to my house, someone's making this food and that fruit, and is delivering this from there to here. We're all connected. So how can we be independent? We're all dependent on each other somehow or another. So to say I don't want to be protected is to say I don't want to be dependent, but yet we're all dependent. So it's just denial of the truth. Okay, that's why it's toxic. Toxic masculinity. Masculine, second one is uncontrolled. So this is ironic, because you want to control others, but you can't control yourself. And yourself is the only one you can control. So very ironic that you can't control yourself, but you want to control others, but you're not in control of yourself, and that's the only thing you can control. So very toxic, very backwards. Toxic feminine it's not free flowing. So you're not free flowing. You're in a trapped state. To be free flowing is like going with the flow, intuitive, and this person who's not free flowing, they complain often. They don't submit to things beyond their control. So for example, the weather. The weather is not the way you want it to be. So you're like, oh, why is the weather like this? Why is it raining? Why is it too hot? Why are the kids doing this? Why have you not done this on time? Where's this? Where's that? So it's constant complaining, and that is not free flowing. Free flowing is whatever's happened, you're happy with, you're submitted to, you've accepted it. Okay, and that is a wonderful state to have. The third toxic masculine one is decisive without listening. So decisive without listening means I'm making a decision, but I'm not going to listen to you. That's just like, well, what's the point of having the meeting? So you want to listen and then make decision, not decide and listen later. So that's more like a boss. They just decide, they don't lead by example. The third toxic feminine one is not intuitive. So they're not intuitive. They're not aware of their inner state, their emotions, their feelings. They're completely oblivious to that. They're fully focused on, you must do this and you must do that. Everyone else is wrong, never myself. Okay, so the toxic masculine, the fourth one, is they're a commander. So I said this, that they're a boss. They boss everyone else about, but they never give themselves the hard role, and they just relax instead. Okay, so number 4 for toxic feminine is they're a disobedient follower. So what does that mean? They follow, but they disobey. So they'll say that, yes, I'll do it, then they don't do it. They end up disobeying. They end up changing things along the line in their own, making their own decisions, not obeying the person who gave them the leadership, not obeying their leader. Okay, and the 5th one is focused on themselves in a selfish way. So what does that mean? That means that I will step on other people in order to get what I want. I will get what I want regardless of other people. Whereas the natural person, the natural masculine, will be that we will all get what we want, and I will make sure that we all get that. So it's a win-win, whereas toxic is like win for me only and lose for you, or not bothered about you. And the last one for toxic feminine is not wild nor creative. So there's no wildness, there's no creativeness in them. They like that, they become trapped, very trapped, and as a result they feel mentally trapped, and as a result the other things will happen. They'll complain, they want to be free. So the feminine energy needs to have freedom. There's an element that it needs to have this freedom, this spontaneousness, and that's what also makes it exciting. That's what makes masculine energy see feminine as exciting, because masculine isn't so spontaneous, and that's why they attract each other, because they're so different. Okay, it's like yin and yang. Yeah, so it's wonderful. So these are the 5, and I'll summarize. Toxic masculine wants control, is uncontrolled, is decisive without listening, is a commander, and is focused on themselves in a selfish way. Toxic feminine doesn't want to be protected, is not free-flowing, which means complains often, is not intuitive, is a disobedient follower, and is not wild nor creative. So if you would like the full 15 of each breakdown, and then you really understand it and apply it to your lives and get that help, then reach out. That is something that I can do for you, and I would love to help you with that as well. So, and let me know if you'd like the PDF of these 5, and let me know what you thought.